He had Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas on to talk border policy because everyone knows it ain't working. But here's Mayorkas and his very fine eyebrows.
Migrants believe there's an open border.
Chris, have you heard some of our political leaders speak about the border and communicate that the border is open? I don't think the more than 1.5 million people who have been removed or expelled from the border would consider the border open, but political leaders communicate that the border is open. That is music to the smugglers' ears, and the smugglers themselves spread.
Wait. You're going to blame this all on Republican critics?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
I mean, you're not going to say that the administration and the policies on Remain in Mexico or Title 42 or stopping construction of the wall, that had no impact?
Chris, that's not what I said. I'm just citing for you a few things, and please allow me. Number one, they use that rhetoric. Number two, we're dealing with smuggling organizations that are far more sophisticated than they were when I prosecuted them for 12 years as an assistant United States attorney and as the United States attorney.
All right, I don't really care what he said about the border. Can we just talk about his eyebrows for a second? Because it's an interesting thing to have no hair on your head and all that hair on your eyebrows. I think we should call that the Mayorkas from now on. If you see somebody walking down the street and they're completely bald, but they've got these just incredible eyebrows, that's a Mayorkas. All right, as for the content, look, it's just silly. Like, of course he was trying to blame the Republicans for everything. And when the Republicans were securing the border and building a wall and doing all those things, they said it was racist. We know that we've had more border breakages, more border passings illegally in the last year than I think the last 5 years combined. Like, it is just absolutely endless. But as he said there, but now that, they've got all this new technology, it's so much more complex. Well, are these smugglers, are these border smugglers, are they brighter than us? Or are you guys all idiots? I think it's the latter. Anyway, it continued, Mayorkas and the border. Is it secure?
But when you say what does secure mean to you? It certainly doesn't mean that people aren't able to get across the border illegally.
Of course not. By that measure, the border's never been secure, right? Since the Department of Homeland Security was created, individuals have evaded.
So by what measure is it secure now, sir?
So there is not a common definition of that. If one looks at the statutory definition, the literal interpretation of the statutory language, if one person successfully evades law enforcement at the border, then we have breached the security of the border.
Oh, Yep, I did a lot of them yesterday. You hack. You are nothing but a hack. Yes, we understand that technically, if 1 million people try to get through a border and we stop all but one, then the border is not secure because one did get through. But do you think that's really what we're talking about here, you ridiculous buffoon? Of course, that's not what we're talking about. What was the number? It's about 1.5 million this year. Was it about 1.5 million? Something like that. About 1.5 million people have illegally gotten through our border this year. We give them phones. We say, oh, we'll call you. We'll call you in a couple weeks. You want a little cash too? Here's your Obama phone. Have at it. Oh, you brought a little fentanyl with you? Well, just send it up to San Francisco. There's always a shortage up there.